All right, so you've learned how to do short form copy. We're going to start moving into other forms of copy. I'm going to start teaching you about how to do landing pages and other forms of longer form sales copy. However, before we dive into this, I want to give you a framework or a skill set that will allow you to learn any form of copy that you need to, right? And I'm going to teach you how to model successful copy. You have to understand that copy formats change endlessly, right? There's new mediums, new social media platforms, new design trends. Things change constantly in the marketing world. So you need to learn how to adapt. Back in the day, direct response copywriting was all done with like actual physical letters that you mailed out to people, right? Like it looked like this. You'd get like a couple pages in an envelope, and it would be a sales letter like this, a literal letter in the mail that would try to convince you to buy the Wall Street Journal, right? Or it would be like old school full-time back of the magazine and a comic book ad kind of deal where you cut this out physically down here at the bottom and mail it in, get your thing. This ad, by the way, made millions and millions of dollars back in the day. It was a huge success. But, and then when people first started going online and using copywriting, direct response marketing online, there were strange looking websites. Like it was this weird yellow stuff. It looked like this, or weird, like highlighted stuff. The formats keep changing. Right now, there's a million different kinds of pages, different kinds of funnels, lead funnels, webinars, sales pages, Facebook ads. It changes. You've got these type of pages, or simple landing page, or that type of Facebook ad, or this weird landing page. Like it never ends, right? The forms will always change based on the medium. It changed when mobile came out and people started using mobile. And it will continue to change as we move forward, right? Who knows? In the future, we might have copywriting that's all done with Neuralink, and you can just like see it. Like we don't know what the medium's gonna look like, but the fundamental psychological like principles, the thing that occurs in the mind and the human mind, persuasion, motivation, all that stuff, it remains the same, right? No matter what the medium is. So as long as you can see a successful examples of copy in a new format, you can model it. You now can kind of reverse engineer how they did it, and then you can turn around and write successful copy in that new format as well. You just have to see it, read it, pay attention to what they're doing, how they're doing it, and you can make it happen, right? You need to just identify the skeleton, or kind of like what they're doing, right? Like I've shown you some frameworks for DIC, like DIC copy, for example. You can identify, okay, they're doing a disrupt section, they're doing an intrigue section, they're doing a click section. And that's kind of a skeleton that you can use to write your own copy using that format. Now, let's say you find a new format of copy, a new framework. You can identify that new framework for yourself, invent your own frameworks based on something that you've seen successful, and then you can just copy it, right? You'll identify different sections of copy or different sort of psychological things that are occurring in different pieces of copy, and then you can just model it and copy it for yourself. You can then take that skeleton and then flesh out the elements from your own brand or product. So you can take sort of the formula and then just plug and play your own avatar's situation, the product, the solution, all that stuff, and just plug and play the language to that formula and produce pretty good copy on the other side, right? Let me give you a quick example. So let's say you wanted to write a good email or good subject line. You can go look at your own inbox to find a subject you like this. This is like from a swipe file or a bunch of emails that I've collected. All right. I thought this was okay, right? How to quit your day job from someone who's done it. That was a pretty good little format for a subject line or a fascination. You can just take that and you just swap out the elements in that subject line that are specific to their brand with elements that are specific to your brand, right? So let's say, here's the original subject line, how to quit your day job from someone who's done it. And you can just convert that over to how to bench 3 plates for reps from someone who can, right? It's, obviously this is for like a strength training or something program. But I just swapped, instead of quit your day job, I put bench 3 plates for reps, and then like just change the grammar here so it made sense. Now I have a killer fascination, right? I think you could repeat the process all the way through the email. I'd be like, okay, he caught their attention with this type of question. I can use that type of question, but I adapted for this. So he stacked the curiosity this way. I'll stack the curiosity that way. Oh, he did a CTA like this. I'll do the CTA like that, but I'll change it up for my stuff. You can just copy the formula and just plug and play your own stuff. And then boom, you've got a successful email. That's most likely work because it's based on an already successful email that is working, right? You can do this with landing pages. You can do it with Facebook ads. You can do it with anything. Webinars. You just take and consume the copy. You now understand how copy works. You understand how persuasion works. You understand how curiosity works. You just see, hey, what they're doing and kind of how they're doing it. And then you can model it with your own copy, right? You can now apply it from anything that we're currently doing to new forms of copy for new platforms that haven't been invented yet. It doesn't matter if you can read it. If you can try and understand what they're doing and how they're doing it, then you can copy it and model it for yourself, right? So when you set out to write a landing page or any form of copy for that matter, even from emails to Facebook ads, it's a good idea to first find other successful, similar pieces of copy to model, and then copy those for yourself or find out how they're doing it and then use that information to inform your work. So how do you find successful pieces of copy to study and model? Right. So first of all, you should be paying attention very closely to the copy you encounter in your world as you're going through social media or consuming this, consuming that. You should be paying attention to the copy that's working. And if you see something that you like, an email, a web page, a webinar, or whatever, you need to download it as a PDF or screenshot it or record it or whatever and save it, right? You want to create a Google Drive folder to store the copy that you saved. This collection of good copy that you find and build up is going to be called a swipe file, right? Something you can go to swipe inspiration from in the future. Now, over time, it's going to be a huge library, right? And it'll be a place for you to go to get inspiration, to break down copy, to learn new lessons. It's a valuable asset that you're going to have. It can take a long time to build up a good swipe file. So in the meantime, you can borrow the community swipe file for this copywriting campus. Got the link here. It'll be somewhere you can access it as well. It's got a bunch of good starter pieces of copy for you to learn from. It's a good resource. You also want to sign up for as many email newsletters as possible, right? Now, it's a good idea to do this with a completely new standalone Gmail account. So go make a new Gmail account. That way you don't ruin your main email address with just like, thousands and thousands. I've got like 17,000 unread messages in mine, but it's just a place I can go if I need to get inspiration, right? And that kind of becomes your email swipe file, a good place to go to get a feel for what's going on, kind of see some good stuff just to model from. So you're going to build up your own swipe file. You're going to build up your own email, like subscription swipe file. But another way to do it, and it's one of the best ways to do it, is to go find Facebook ads that are working well, right? So you go look for ads in your feed, Facebook, Instagram, etc., that have lots of likes and comments, because the more engagement, like the more likes and comments, the longer that ad's been running. The longer that ad's been running, that means they've been spending a lot of money to run that ad for a long period of time. If they've been spending a lot of money to run that ad for a long period of time, chances are that the ad is profitable, so it's a good ad, and chances are the funnel, so the landing page, the emails, and everything else on the back end of it is profitable as well, right? People don't usually spend money on things that aren't profitable. So you can go through and just on social media, scroll through, find ads that are working and follow the thread down and find sales pages and stuff. There's some plugins and stuff too that you can install on Google Chrome that'll just like filter your feed by ads. You can go find those. They're pretty easy to Google and find. But you can use this method to find a lot of profitable new funnels and new pages to model, like things that are working that you hadn't seen before. Anyways, there's a lot of good things you can do as you go out and try and find copy to model. Like you're going to learn lessons by seeking this out and breaking it down yourself. You're going to find things that work. You're going to find things that don't work. Obviously, even if a page is profitable, that doesn't mean they're doing everything right. But before you sit down to write a landing page, it's a good idea to go and try and find other landing pages you like, and then figure out what they're doing, how they're doing it, and then use that information to inform how you're writing your copy. And again, I do this today. If I sit down to do a copywriting project, the first thing I do after I've done my research and all that stuff on the product and avatars, I'm going to go find competitors. I'm going to go find people in similar fields. I'm going to review my swipe file. I'm going to try and find inspiration. I'm going to see what they're doing and how they're doing it. I'm going to draw from that to inform what I do so I can be successful right out of the gate with the copy that I write. All right, so now it's time to learn what opt-in pages are and how to write them. Right now, you've learned how to model copy, which is extremely important. It's to be helpful as you dive in and learn how to write opt-in pages. But there are some key elements that I can help you learn right off the bat. Let me help you first understand what an opt-in page is. Like all steps along a business's funnel or value ladder, the opt-in page is a trade, right? The opt-in page, they're used to collect a potential customer's contact information and sort of the permission to communicate with them. And in return, you provide them with some form of value, right? A gift, information, a discount, or special access, etc. Opting in for one of these free gifts is one of the first steps along many businesses' value ladder. Remember the concept of how you continue to trade time, energy, and money in greater and greater amounts for greater and greater amounts of value and taking someone to their dream state. That this is usually that first step. They're going from the outside world to becoming part of the brand's world, to an inside member of that world, right? This is their first step into it, right? Which is cool because like once you've collected their contact information, their email address or phone number or something like that, you don't have to rely on some platform like Facebook or YouTube to reach that person either through organic stuff or paid stuff. You can now just reach directly to them. You have their contact information. You can directly reach out to them via email or phone or whatever information they provided. You're not dependent on some third-party platform so much. So let me show you a few examples of opt-in pages and get a feel for them, right? This is my opt-in page for HE2 students. It shows it's really simple. You got a headline, you got some curiosity bullets, you got a CTA, you got a little thing here with my face and little authority boost there, right? Here's the link to it if you want to sign up. It's a good chance for you guys to get to know kind of what it's feel. I send out example email copy for you guys to get a feel for what it's like. So if you want to sign up, do it. If not, no big deal. There's this other one right here. This is a classic. It's just simple, straightforward, in your face, big, bold colors. Really simple. Just a title, a few fascination points, some security stuff here to make you feel safe. But it's really simple. Not a lot going on here. Not a lot to get in your way. Here's another one. This is like just a free training one. It's got like a little video that kind of gives you a preview, some bullets here and a button. And again, there's about 1 million different variations. There's a ton of different kinds of opt-in pages, landing pages out there. And again, you know how to model that. But the good news is like you already know how to write the main elements, right? Because really the best landing pages like landing pages, opt-in pages are the same thing. They're really usually just DIC copy with a dash of authority and other trust promoting content. Like that's really all they are, right? Got a headline to catch the attention, right? You'll notice that headlines are essentially just fascinations, right? You already know how to do that. There's a reason. I had you guys learn that from the beginning. I wasn't kidding when I called them the Lego blocks of copywriting. If you're good at fascinations, you'll find that they come up over and over and over again. And it's important to have a bunch of really good ones, right? Something to keep in mind, you're going to want consistency between whatever fascination you use for your headline and whatever content you use to get the reader to that opt-in page, right? Because you're usually going to be driving traffic from social media or email or something to get people to go from this outside world to this landing page where they can opt in. Whatever your main hook is, whatever your big promise is over here in this copy that's driving them to the landing page, it needs to be reflected in the headline. It has to make sense. Like you can't take them from one thing where you're talking about X and then they show up on the page and it's about Y. It needs to be, if you talk about X, the page needs to be about X. It needs to be a smooth transition between the two. So little thing to keep in mind. And again, usually that headline is going to be about a big promise, right? You're going to be promising the reader they're going to get something, or it's going to be connected to either their biggest pain or their biggest desire, right? And that's obviously something you're going to have uncovered with your research. You're going to have the exact customer language, and you will already have written probably a whole bunch of fascinations to make that really easy. So whatever fascination you pick for your headline, it needs to be potent, right? It can't just be a mediocre fascination. You want it to rock the reader if possible. Like you want it to break their brain, right? It needs to be so potent that like their brain has to try and figure it out because it's so intriguing and powerful for them. You want it to be so good, this headline to be so good that they will tell their friends about this headline and this piece of copy for the rest of the day, right? And that might sound like a big ask, but you can literally do this, right? So here's some examples of some of these headlines that actually achieve that, right? There's the classic one-legged golf, for example. Amazing secret discovered by one-legged golfer adds 50 yards to your drives, eliminates hooks and slices, and can slash up to 10 strokes from your game overnight. Breaks your brain. You're trying to figure out how it works, what it is. It's connected to things you want. It's unique. You're going to tell people about it. This is a good headline. This is a really relevant. This one maybe not be as exotic as the last example, but this is just a good one. The bare bones 2-page funnel generated over 185,372 leads for us, and how you can swipe it to attract your unlimited leads for your business. It's just straightforward, specific. It's curiosity built. There's just enough information given here that they want to know what it is. It's a solid headline, right? This is a classic one from this like financial copy. America's #1 stock analyst says, "I'm done with stocks, and so are you." Just like right in your face, just big, bold, completely contrarian to the main to the main like status quo, right? in your face, big headline, right? Breaks the brain. This is an old one, but a classic. For golfers who are, this is not necessarily a landing page, but like a landing page style old school copy. But it's for golfers who are almost but not quite satisfied with their game and can't figure out what they're doing wrong. Beautiful. Calls out the avatar, calls out their need, talks about like that little insecurity they have about their golf game. Beautiful headline. Or this one, right? This is another landing page for a free training or for like this for this book. After spending $1 million in ads, we are revealing our proven winners so that you can straight up copy, deploy, and make money now. Just big in your face, $1 million in ads, copy, deploy, make money. Like it's just a straightforward, solid headline for a landing page. So again, you're going to catch their attention with that. You're going to talk about their pains, their desires. You make a big, bold promise. There might be a little bit of copy here and there thrown in. You want to then move on to building intrigue, right? Like the point of this landing page is to get them so curious and fascinated by what they're going to discover on the other end of submitting their stuff that they submit their information, right? You have to build that intrigue so they really want to do that. A powerful way to accomplish this is to stack your fascinations, right? Fun fact, another name for fascinations is actually like curiosity bullets. People like use this term interchangeably. And that's because a lot of times you use fascinations as like a bullet list, right? So you stack curiosity on landing pages. Here's a few examples. This is Rachel Peterson landing page, and she's got 3 fascinations stacked here. A to Z of how to get started with TikTok. My weird hashtag strategy that helped me grow by 52,000 followers in 1 month. Your first 1,000 followers on TikTok, a how-to training. Like they've just stacked the curiosity bullets there. Here's a classic one. This is a Dan Kennedy landing page. You can see, I mean, the headline's a curiosity bullet, but you can just see he stacked bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet. It's like a whole page of bullets, right? And the point of that, if you go through and read all of these, assuming you're the target market, is it stacks curiosity. Curiosity gets more and more and more. Again, this old ad, which is one of my favorites, does the same thing. Curiosity bullet after curiosity bullet after curiosity bullet after curiosity bullet. The table of contents are a curiosity bullet. But the cool thing is, like, if you go and read those curiosity bullets, they're so good that the reader would happily submit their information just to get the answer to one of those things. Not to mention stacking it on dozens and dozens and dozens of time, right? So it's not just they want one thing really, really bad, they'd happily submit their information for. It's they want 12 things now, right? Like the curiosity is stacked to a point where it's like a raging inferno and they have to put it out. That's what you want to do inside of a good landing page. So once you connect with their desire, you made a big promise, you stack the curiosity. This is when you want to start layering in some authority and some trust, right? Because you want to remove the fear, any fear they might have about the quality of the info they're going to be getting, because you're promising something, they don't know you, you're a stranger. You need to kind of introduce yourself. They need to resonate with you. They need to feel like the sources of this information is going to be good, right? So usually you're going to want to demonstrate some authority and do a few other things to build some trust. And again, this is way important when you're doing a landing page and an opt-in page that is targeted towards people who aren't familiar with your product, which is going to be most of the time, right? You need to build that authority. There's a bunch of ways to do it. Some of the best ways are to show your track record. So like show your past successes that you've had as a guru, right? And I say you, I realize many of you aren't going to actually be running your own business online immediately. You're going to be helping other businesses to do it. So when I say you, I mean like your clients. You're going to help. You're going to show your client's track record. You're going to show the other people that your client has helped, and you're going to show their authority by association. So if they're associated with anyone that can provide any level of authority to them, right? So let me give you some examples. The Dan Kennedy one, there's a couple of examples, right? In this part, he talks about how he's not some youngster promising to be your savior after watching some videos. He's got a 40-year history as a guru to gurus. It talks about, how good he's done. You get this whole section here about who's Dan Kennedy. Talks about all the things that he's done. He's the founder of this magazine. He's taught this for 6 million people around the world, 9 consecutive years. So it's just power by association, power by numbers of people that he's helped, proven track record, how many books he's written. Like he's just stacking and saying, hey, I'm a guy you can trust, right? Even in this example, right, that we shared earlier, America's #1 stock analyst. And this is just the first place he starts talking about authority. There's a whole section of the sales letter where he just stacks this guy's authority and why you should listen to him, right? In this example, there's a couple places, right? They've spent $1 million in ads. $1 million in ads, like that lends a level of credibility all to itself. Plus, there's a section down here where they show where it's been featured on these different news outlets. There's a lot of different ways to weave authority throughout a landing page, right? And what that's going to do is increase the sense of certainty that they're going to get what they want, right? So you're making them a big promise. And by layering in some authority and some trust factors, what it's going to do is it's going to give them confidence that they can actually get what they want. So that's kind of the main elements in a landing page. When you sit down to write one, you're usually going to plan out at least those 3 elements. You might put a few new things in, a few additional things in, depending on the landing page you decide to model, right? Because that's the first step you're going to do. You're going to sit down and find other pages that you want to model. But those are going to be the main things. So you're going to sit down and plan your headlines. You're going to plan your fascinations. You're going to plan your call to actions. You're going to plan how to put some authority in there. But if you're working with a client or you're running your own business and you have to figure out, what you're actually going to offer as bait, that free thing that they're opting in for, then there's a certain process. You want to think about things that are going to be helpful to somebody who's taking their first steps towards their dream state. So you're going to think about the avatar, you're going to think about their dream state, and you're going to think about some of the first roadblocks they're going to run into. You want to create your free value, that free gift that you're offering them, to be something that's going to help them with those first few steps along the way, right? Like, for example, in my landing page is 10 tips to reach 10K a month as a copywriter as quickly as humanly possible. And those tips are valuable information that someone needs to know when they're first starting as a copywriter so they can progress as quickly as possible. It's useful to the avatar where they are, right? And again, that's useful because you want to think about those roadblocks you're going for, and usually just giving them information and helping them understand their situation, what they really want. Like, if you can wrap that into a valuable package, an ebook, a guide, a video, or something, that's usually enough to make it worth it for them to opt in and give you their email address and sort of join your world, step into your brand, right? Now, you measure the success of a sales page based on the conversion rate. So you're going to have 100 visitors. How many of those visitors actually opt in, right? If it's 25, then you have a 25% conversion rate, right? You want to have as high of a conversion rate as possible for free gifts and free offers. You should shoot for at least a 25% conversion rate. That should be like your bare minimum of what you accept, but you can obviously go higher than that. And obviously, the higher the converting page converts, the more valuable it is to drive traffic to that page. If you drive more traffic to that page, you get more people convert, you get more leads, you can sell more people, right? You want to dial in all those elements: the headline, the images that you use, the entry, the CTA buttons, all that stuff to ensure the highest possible conversion rates. Writing landing pages is extremely valuable. Again, like I said, it's the beginning. It's where you've taken short form copy, you've got the reader to that page. This is where they make the decision whether or not they're going to sort of join your brand or step in and give permission to be marketed to or not, right? So if you can do this more effectively than your competitors, you can do this more effectively than the people in the market, then you win, right? If you can help your clients do that, then they win and you make a lot of money. So learning how to write landing pages and really dialing in those 3 elements: the headline, the entry that you use, and the authority that you drop, that would do the most for driving the conversions on your landing page and making it successful. So keep those in mind. All right, so we've talked about how to do landing pages, how to do individual emails. Talk about a lot of the different pieces and parts. We're going to fill in the next piece of the puzzle, which is how to write email sequences, right? So not just one email, but how do you connect emails and use them on the back end to actually make money for a company? So email is a very powerful platform for customer communication, right? It is how many businesses speak to their customers directly. It's refused to die. It's a powerful system, right? But a lot of what I'm going to be teaching you and sharing with you in this video can still be applied to other communication platforms like their social media account or SMS and stuff like that. It transfers quite a bit, but I'm going to be speaking primarily about emails, right? Once someone has signed up for a brand's email list, they are now part of that brand's world. This is like that first step into going from being like a follower, someone from the outside world, into being like their fan, right? And if a business can take that person and build and maintain a strong relationship with those people, if they can shift their beliefs, change the way they see the world, and inspire action towards that reader's goals, then that business can earn fans for life and will be able to achieve both a high LTV and a huge scale, right? If they can take everybody that walks in the door and connect with them and deeply and build rapport with them deeply and inspire them to take action, then they're going to be able to sell a lot more products. They'll be able to take that money and use it to increase their front end marketing. It's a key element to really being able to scale a business really high up, right? So let's talk about different kinds of email sequences, different ways to use the emails, and that kind of stuff, so you can get a feel for how it works. So the first thing you need to understand is the welcome sequence, right? So we talk about how to build an opt-in page. So once someone actually opts in that page and they're taking that first step into the world, you want to start hyper building that relationship right at the beginning when they're hot and bothered. They've decided they want this thing. They've shown they're interested in solving this problem. They've taken a step. They've made one step of commitment towards the brand. You want to hyper build the relationship at that point, because it's like you're forging like a piece of steel. You've taken out the fire. It's hot. It's moldable. Now's the time to strike the hammer, right? To actually mold the relationship with this person. So you want to start providing value, and you want to start building rapport with the reader. This welcome sequence, this type of email sequence, is often called an indoctrination sequence, because this is the opportunity to reshape their view of the world, right? So most of the people don't have success because they don't understand how the world truly works, right? And every brand has their own take on what reality is, and key beliefs and important facts. And something that happens in this welcome sequence, on top of building rapport, on top of selling a product, is that you're going to start to reshape their view of the world. You're going to start sharing your opinions, your thoughts, your beliefs as a company and as a brand, and they're going to start adopting them, right? Now, the goal of this welcome sequence, they're going to come in one end, a new person who isn't familiar with you or your brand, right? And you're going to build a relationship with them. You're going to reshape their understanding of the world. You prepare them to purchase the next product on the value ladder, and that's where they're going to pop out, right? So you're going to come in a brand new person. You're going to do a bunch of stuff, and the end goal is they should be ready to purchase the next product in the value ladder, right? So if they've opted in for a free gift, maybe they buy the low ticket, or they've bought a low ticket thing, maybe you're getting them to buy a mid ticket. You know, they paid $7 for this thing, and now you're going to pay for $97 for the low ticket item, for example, right? Or they opted in for a free ebook, now you want them to buy the $197 membership or something like that, right? You take them in, you use this indoctrination sequence to build that rapport, to reshape their beliefs, and prepare them to purchase the next product. So usually that first email in the sequence is just a simple introduction and the actual bait they signed up for. So if they signed up for a free book, they're going to get the link to the free book in their email, and you're going to say hi. And usually you're also going to tease the content they're going to be getting in the next email, so they're going to want to come back and read it, right? So that first email is kind of administrative, but you want to tease some valuable content they're going to be getting in that next email, so they're going to show up the next day or for the next email that they get, right? And that's right. Email 2, that second email, is usually an HSO email where they get the opportunity to know the guru or the brand's sort of discovery story, start to build rapport, get to understand what it's all about, and begin to shift some of those beliefs, to begin to, do the things that the HSO email does, right? Now, when you're presenting this information in the welcome sequence, not all of the emails have to be sales emails, right? So that HSO doesn't have to be an email that directly sends them to the next product on the ladder. It can, but it can also just be something that teaches a valuable lesson. And instead of an offer, you just provide the information, some of the things they can do to act on right then and there, right? And these are called value emails, right? A lot of times we call these value emails, and the ones where there's a direct pitch, we call those a sales video, right? You can either do a value email where you just teach it there in the email. You can direct them to a YouTube video or a podcast episode. You generally want to increase engagement and help them start to consume the content that can help shift their brain, right? You can link to a product, but you don't have to. Email 3, so after you've done that HSO email, they've got a chance to get to know you and the brand. Email 3 is usually like a pure value email that just gives them new knowledge about the roadblocks and what needs to happen if they want to get to their dream state. And this can be done either with like a DIC, and then like a DIC format where you disrupt, you build some intrigue, and then you give them the answer. Or you can actually have them go and click. You can do the DIC email, and they go click, and they discover the answer and the information, that free value somewhere else. Again, there's a lot of flexibility in how you do this. Email 4 in the indoctrination sequence is usually another DIC email, but this is 100% usually focused on directing them to the product, right? So you've got them all excited and interested in buying into your world. You now use that, you stack a lot of curiosity and you drive into the product. A straightforward sales DIC email. And then email 5 is usually, and this is kind of the last one I'm going to present on right now, is usually a PAS style email that's designed to get them over the edge. They kind of learned about it. You've got them all excited. Now you just crank that emotion and you get them to go to the sales page and buy the product, right? That upsell product, that next thing on the ladder. You can have more than 5 emails. You can have a bunch of these. You can repeat some of these steps. You can do less. You can condense them. There's no fixed way. It's really up to you to decide what steps you want to include. But you just need to ask yourself, where is the reader when they first join? Where do they need to go? What steps need to happen for them to get there? And then you just kind of define the emails that you're going to do. I've given you kind of a rough outline of some of a format or something of a format you can use, but it's up to you to decide what the actual steps are. So that they can step in, go from being a brand new person to being someone who's fully bought into the vision, ready to buy that next product. Now, even if the reader doesn't buy that next product at the end, they should be bought into the brand, right? That's the biggest thing. You want to take them, even if they don't give you their money, they need to become someone who is in it, who understands what you're about, who believes your core things, and will be a good person to purchase who will purchase from you in the future, right? And who's going to enjoy opening those emails over and over again. They need to become addicted. This is Mr. Pavlov, and this is Pavlov's dog. So you guys probably are familiar with the traditional conditioning like thing that he discovered. So he did this deal where he would ring a bell, and every time he would ring a bell, he'd feed these dogs steak. He ran this experiment, right? So he'd feed them food, ring a bell, feed them food, ring a bell, feed them food. And then eventually he got to the point where he just ring the bell and they'd start salivating because they were anticipating eating food, right? And this is essentially what you're going to do. You want to get them into the habit of every time you send an email, they get excited, they read it because it's a fun experience. It talks about interesting things. It's related to them, and it's just a good thing. You want to build up that habit and indoctrination sequence so that the next time you send them an email, a week from now, a day from now, or a month from now, they're excited to open it. And maybe that's the time they buy your next product, or they go further and further up, right? You want to get them excited and addicted to consuming your content. So to get good at writing welcome sequences, I recommend you go out and sign up for as many newsletters as you can and take notes on what they do well and what they can improve on, right? So just go out, like you should be doing this for part of your email swipe file. We go sign up to as many new newsletters as possible, and then go read the content that they're sending out to you as you go through like their welcome sequence and see, oh, I like what they did here. They kind of made a mistake there. Oh, this resonates with me, or this one doesn't, right? That's a really good way for you to get experience. There's a lot of variety for how you do welcome sequences depending on the product and the services you're offering. But I recommend you just go sign up for as many as possible and see what they're doing. So let's talk about just normal newsletter emails. Now, this isn't like a sequence per se, but it's important to keep, once they've gone through that welcome sequence, it's important to keep that relationship with your list alive and continue to help them and sell them and guide them towards your other products as you move forward, right? You're going to want to make the majority of your emails to your list about helping them. Like the main focus will be about helping them and providing value, rather than only sending emails that are like pushing for a sale every single time. Like that's the full focus, right? You're building up what some people refer to as like a relationship bank account, right? So every time you send them an email that provides value, you're making a deposit, right? So you're increasing the balance in this imaginary relationship bank account. And then eventually you'll earn the right to make a withdrawal, right? To, let's say every time you send an email, you're depositing some stuff. You send 3 or 4 emails where you're giving them a lot of value and you build up a balance. Then you can then turn around and say, okay, I'm going to send you an email where I'm directly selling a product, but you've earned that right because you built it up by providing so much value, right? But even though you're sending value emails, doesn't mean you should ignore the DIC, PAS, or HSO elements. Those are still the best ways to grab people's attentions, build curiosity so that they'll pay attention to the lessons and value that you're sharing. So you still want to do DIC, you still want to do PAS, you still want to do HSO. You just might put the actual value inside the email or link to something that's free instead of an actual product, right? You can also tag on a mini CTA in the PS section for your value emails to capture sales as you educate and help them. So you have the whole email, you teach them some cool stuff, and you might do PS and a little entry bullet and a link to the actual product, right? That way you're not like overtly, like directly making the whole thing about selling. You're providing a lot of value and you're giving someone an opportunity to buy if they're interested, right? Usually you want to do like a 3-to-1 or a 2-to-1 ratio of value emails to sales emails. So you're going to send out 3 value emails and then a sales email. That way it's balanced and you have enough of a relationship capital built up over those deposits, those value emails, that you get the right to do a sales email. So So that's how you send out your regular content to an email list. Now, eventually you're going to do what is often called a launch sequence. So when a business is going to launch a new product or hold a live or paid event, a paid webinar or something like that, you're going to send a series of emails to the list to build up demand and capture the maximum number of sales from your product, from your list, right? In many ways, these sequences are a lot like welcome sequences, right? There's usually an announcement email. It's kind of like that first email where you're going to open up and like you make an announcement, hey, we're holding this event, or hey, we're opening this product, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to start encouraging pre-orders or people to sign up for a wait list, that kind of stuff, to identify that they're ready for it. And then you're going to give a lot of value emails and free content. Maybe you're going to do a free webinar. Maybe you're going to do some videos. You're going to post some stuff. But you start educating the reader, reshaping some of their beliefs, and amplifying their pain and desire around like this problem or service that your product or service is connected to, right? Then usually after you've done that, there'll be a series of PAS when you get closer to like the launch date, where you're going to be using those PAS emails to amplify their pain and desire and actually get them ready to do it, right? If there's a sale period, right? So if it's like, it's only available, like say it's a course and it's only available for enrollment for like a week, then usually there's some high urgency PAS style emails that go out during that week. And especially right before the time that like the cart closes and like they can't purchase anymore, you're gonna have some urgency style emails where you're like, hey, 48 hours left, or hey, 24 hours left, or hey, 4 hours left, that kind of stuff to go out to the list and catch that last minute traffic as the urgency gets like greater and greater as you get closer to the end, right? So many businesses have multiple products. They launch new products. They do new courses. They do like cyclical launch patterns. So you might have to do the same launch sequence to your list 3 or 4 different times in the year, where you change the content up, but you basically follow the same process to get someone to come into a course or a product, right? So that's a launch sequence, and it's kind of varied, right? But basically, again, you're going to have an announcement. You're going to build up some value. You're going to capture the sales with like a PAS style stuff, and you're gonna have some urgency stuff right as the end of the launch comes out, right? That's typically how a launch sequence goes. Now, there's another type of sequence which is called the reactivation sequence. So something you need to know is that over time, like naturally, subscribers will start to lose interest, stop losing it, or will start to lose interest, and they'll stop opening up your emails, right? Just over time, they'll solve a problem, or they'll move on, or they'll die, or something happens, and they just stop opening your emails, right? Which isn't that big of a problem, but Google and like mail servers, like the actual technical side of things that actually send out emails, they keep track of open rates and spam complaints, right? So you don't want to get marked as spam, obviously, right? But they also track open rates. If you're sending emails over and over again to people who don't open it, your sending domain or address will actually blacklist your domain or treat your sending domain with less priority. So it'll actually like affect your deliverability to your actual good contacts, right? It'll keep you in the like promotions tab or the updates tab instead of helping you get into the primary tab, or it might just start sending you to spam, right? And you want to minimize as much that it possibly, you want to maximize the deliverability. So if there's a lot of old subscribers who aren't responsive on that list, when you're on the business list that either you're running as a business owner or for the clients that you're working with, then you want to identify those people and give them a chance to either reintegrate themselves into the community or just clean them out of your list, right? And to do this, you do what's called a reactivation sequence, right? You're going to segment out the customers, the subscribers who haven't opened their emails in however many months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you decide, right? You're going to create a new segment on your email marketing software. And then you're going to send those people a series of emails letting them know that they're going to be removed from your list. So you say, hey, so-and-so, like, I've seen you haven't been active in a while. Like, we want you to stay here. If you still want to receive emails, please click this link. Go do this, whatever. Usually, like, you make a link, say, hey, click here if you want to stay. They take that action, then they're tagged and they're taken out of that group. You can kind of bribe them to click that link by offering them a small discount on one of your products, or start reindoctrinating them by building like their curiosity and taking them through another journey. So they kind of go back through the welcome sequence all over again. You can engineer these sort of experiences for them. Basically, you want to find the people, and usually you want to use high intrigue, high attention grabbing subject lines on this, so you can give someone a chance to finally open their email. But you want to create these people. You want to identify them. You want to give them a chance to say, hey, raise their hand, click the link, and say, yeah, I want to still be in the brand. And then you're going to start giving them content that's going to help them kind of step back into that world and get reactivated, right? But eventually there has to be a breakup email where it's like, hey, it's your final last chance to stay. If you don't click this link within 24 hours, you're out. And then if they don't take the necessary action, you take everyone who didn't respond and you just remove them from the list, right? You take them off the email list, So that way you keep your sender score high. And then your focus is 100% on people who you're helping, people who are most engaged with the brand, right? It's going to help your open rate stay high, keep your sender score up, and it's going to keep your optimism up because you're working with an engaged group of people instead of people who have become apathetic, right? You want to get rid of those people, right? So those are some of the main sequences you're going to run as you're working with an email list and as you're creating email sequences. It's how you actually take those DICPS, HSO emails and you put them to work. Now, I need to talk about something called segmentation, right? So today's modern email marketing softwares, which is like EMS, things like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, et cetera, right? They all allow you to segment your list based on behavior. So for example, if you send them an email with a link to a YouTube video, for example, or you have them, or if they open a specific email or they visit a certain page on your website or buy a product, for example, you can actually tag them inside of that software. And that way, when you turn around, you can send emails to people who only have a certain tag or fit a certain segment, which is really cool because that way you can identify your best prospective customers, the ones who are like your loyal, diehard fans. And you can say, okay, they'd be a really good fit for this product. And you can send just those people specific emails where you treat them that way. Or you can say, okay, these are the men on the list, these are the women on the list. I'm gonna send them different emails because they're gonna respond to different pain points, right? The ability to segment and tag your list, it allows you to tailor the subscriber's experience to them and allow them to get the most value out of the product, right? The old rule of thumb is that a business should earn at least $1 per month for each subscriber on their list. So if you show up to help a business and they have 100,000 subscribers but are only making like 20K a month, then they need to improve their list health, improve their email sequences, and or add some new products to get more value per contact, right? And these are the tools you need to do this, right? You have the segmentation, you're going to be able to create new flows, better experiences for the best customers, for people. You're going to be able to create better welcome sequences so you can take a greater percentage of people who come in that front door and turn them into great, wonderful subscribers who are engaged and ready to purchase other products. If you create better launch sequence emails, you can maximize the amount of people who buy new products or ascend up that ladder. And as long as you keep your list health good, you should be able to put together email sequence after email sequence after email sequence to maximize the amount of value you're providing to that list and also maximize the amount of value that they're giving you through purchasing your products, right? There's a lot of different ways to do email lists. There's a lot of ways to configure it. Again, sign up to as many email lists as you possibly can so you can get a feel for different things that people are doing. Because email is a very powerful tool to build that relationship with your client, your customers, and also capitalize from that relationship. It's an important tool. Again, a lot of it can be applied to social media, like how you post on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Can follow a lot of the same stuff. You can't tag as well as you can there, but you can still plan out the kind of content and your sales content versus your value content, that same sort of thing, using these same principles. All right, so we're going to begin the next series of sprints, which will be focused entirely on helping you learn how to write long-form copy in addition to your short-form skills. Now, you might have some questions. What is long-form copy? Why do I need to know it? Well, long-form copy is typically referring to things like sales pages, landing pages, VSLs, webinars, long-form content. So not just an email of 150 words, but a piece of content that can take someone from where they are to a conversion event, right? So, and a lot of times that's cold traffic to a conversion event. So you have to hit all the levels of persuasion. You have to make sure that you include all the elements to help them make that choice. And it's more involved than short form copy where you're just trying to spin up their curiosity and send them over to the sales page to do the persuasion. You're actually doing the hardcore persuasion, right? Now you need to understand the principles in short form. They still apply here to long form. You're gonna use them, but you're gonna need to understand a few additional concepts in order to write good long form copy. Now, something to know about long form copy is it is significantly more valuable to a business than just the short form copy alone. Long form copy is responsible for conversions, right? For getting them to actually pull out their wallet and buy or opt in or attend an event, et cetera, right? So if you can do this well, And let's say you're selling a high ticket item that's worth $1,000 to $10,000 per conversion event for the business. You can do the math and realize how much money you can take home as a result, right? You can provide massive competitive advantage for your customers if you learn long form copy, right? It's an extremely important skill. It's really where a lot of the money is as a copywriter. This is going to be the core part of a lot of the funnels that you create as you move forward and become into the more experienced sprints. But in these upcoming sprints, I'm going to first give you a quick overview of everything and teach you some quick and dirty principles that will allow you to just, after this first sprint, you'll be able to create long form copy right off the bat, right? I'm going to give you a general outline. I'm going to give you some tips on how to model stuff and how to create sales pages like just now. And then the rest of the sprints, I'll go into a deeper dive into each of the individual components of the long form copy. Some of these more important principles. I'll make a long form sales page live with you as we go through the sprints. You'll be able to see that as an example. But this first sprint is just going to give you an overview. It's going to help you understand what happens in long form copy, and it's going to give you the tools to go out and do it today as I continue to build the rest of the sprints. So that's what long form copy is. That's why it's important. That's why it's going to help you make a lot more money as a copywriter. And it's going to help you bring a lot of value to your clients. Okay, so at this stage, you guys have had some exposure to long form sales pages. You looked at things in Swipe File. We have you looking through long form copy from the very beginning of your time here in HU2. Now, you've probably picked up on a few things. There's a few commonalities across all the sales pages, but I'm going to give you sort of a rough outline of what typically happens in a sales page, what each section is, and what the purpose is. Now, you need to understand this is a very loose outline. Not all sales pages have all these elements. Not all of them have them in the same order. Some have extra elements. It doesn't matter, right? There's a lot of different ways to accomplish the same thing, but all of these sales pages are going to accomplish the same overarching goals, which is they're going to captivate the reader's attention. They're going to shift beliefs and teach new lessons, and they are going to help the reader decide to buy the product if they are sort of a good fit, right? Now I'm going to talk about each section of this outline that I'm giving you. And again, this is a rough outline. I may add things to this in the future. You may pull up the Google Doc that's shared inside the sprints, and there might have additional or less items to be refined. But that being said, these are the main elements of a sales page. And they're the main elements of any long form sales, whether it's VSL, whether it's webinar, whether it's just a condensed version of this in a landing page. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but most of these elements are going to be found basically on all of them. So I'm going to go through each of the elements now. The first part of the sales page is that headline, that first part of the page. And the point of that is to grab attention and basically break the brain of the reader, right? Like they need to see the headline, and it needs to be something to think about all day long, whether they read the rest of the article or not. Like it has to be something that captivates attention and creates massive curiosity and desire to continue reading the rest of the sales page. To do that, it has to be relevant. It has to be something about them, something about things they want. It's got to have some curiosity elements to it. This is where your fascination skills and your ability to understand your avatar come into play. A good headline can make or break a sales page, right? I'm going to be talking about in another sprint how to come up with good headlines. But we know that the headline is that first part, and it's in many ways one of the most important parts of a sales page. The next part, the next third of the sales page of the long form copy is the lead, right? Now the lead is, it's very much like the different types of short form copy that you've experienced so far. It's really going to be very similar to DIC or PAS, right? The point of this is to connect with the reader, help them understand that you understand them, that they're like known, seen, felt, or whatever, right? Like that you can relate to them, you understand their pain. You're going to make big promises about the dream state that you can help them provide. You're going to tease the mechanism or sort of that law of nature that's going to solve the part of the problem that they need to solve to get their dream state. You're going to tease that in a way that makes them want to keep reading. You're going to open loops and create some open-ended intrigue and curiosity here so that they read the rest of the sales page. A lot of you guys ask, like, well, do people really read these long sales pages? They do for curiosities, right? Some people don't read everything. Some people skim, and we'll talk about that in later videos. But a big part of the consumption of the sales page depends on how good your headline is and how good that lead is at connecting with their pain, making big promises, teasing certain things that will be revealed in the rest of the page, and establishing credibility so that they want something, they're curious about something, and they know it's just safe or real enough for them to invest their time in reading, right? Once you've accomplished that in the lead, then you go to what's known as the body, or sort of the main part of the sales page. Now, the goal of the body is the whole point is to the body, or sort of the sales page later videos, but a big part of the consumption of the sales page depends on how good your headline is and how good that lead is at connecting with their pain, making big promises, they invest or sort of the main part. Once you've accomplished that in the lead, then you go to what's known as the body, or sort of the main part of the sales page. Now, the goal of the body is the whole point is to shift their beliefs. You're basically red pilling them on how the world really works, right? They want this dream state, but they can't have it, or they haven't figured out how to have it yet. And it's because they don't understand something about how the world works. There's some beliefs they need to fix. There's some insights they need to have, and a path they need to take. The body is going to reveal what they need to do to get their dream state, but not necessarily how to do that thing, right? Another thing that happens in the body is you are going to oftentimes use a discovery story where it's told through the point of your guru or some other person of how they discovered the solution. So it's a chance for you to use storytelling to take the reader on an emotional journey where they get to experience some of the same emotions and discover some of the same things that the guru did as they discovered or came across the solution that they're presenting inside the product, right? So you're going to introduce the guru, you're going to preview. Usually if you're going to be doing storytelling, you don't always have to use a story here, but if you do, you're going to usually like slap them with a hide of drama. So the moment where it's most interesting, exciting, or dangerous, you're going to usually slap that right in front of them. So you open that loop and make them want to read the rest of the story. You show the person's struggles, right? Something with this is you don't want to make the guru look like a loser. You want to make them look like a really good person that just had a problem because of a lack of understanding, or again, a lack of belief, or something that you're going to easily solve with a product, right? You don't want to be like, the guy was a complete alcoholic and that's why his business wasn't working. No, you want to be like, he was a good guy working hard his business. He just didn't understand how to do credit, for example, right? So you're going to show the struggles. And again, the reader's going to be going along with the guru in the story. And I'm going to talk more about this in the sprint where we break down storytelling in sales pages. But basically, you're going to give them the chance to empathize with the guru. Be like, okay, he's going through something similar to me, maybe a little bit worse. Show the ways they tried to solve the problem but couldn't, kind of to preemptively address some skepticism or alternate paths. You're going to probably show that moment where all seems lost, like it looks like he's going to fail, but then miraculously there's a decision and a discovery moment where he figures out what he needs to do to be successful. Either someone else comes in, he puts in the work and goes and figures it out himself. Somehow, some way he finds a solution. He understands how the world works. He understands this mechanism. He's able to then go and experience the dream state, right? And you're going to give them the story, and usually this discovery story allows them to see how this goes. Like they get to experience the roller coaster of the emotions and get to kind of get a glimpse of what it would be like when they solve this problem for themselves. With this, again, they should read this part of the sales letter and be like, wow, my life has completely changed. I know what I need to do now. I know what's holding me back. I know what I need to do, but they should have a million questions about how to do it. And they should have some doubt in their ability to do it by themselves. That's how they should, they'll walk in the body excited to learn, and they'll walk out of the body section with their mindset shifted,
they'll probably tell all their friends about it for the rest of the day / week. And they'll be eager to figure out how to actually implement the solution to their problem that they just discovered in that body section, right? You're making claims and then you're going to be backing up with proof, like within the story and with other proof elements. Again, that's something I'll talk about more in the body section, but that's what happens in that middle section of the copy. Once you've done that, then you move to what's called the close, right? Now, the purpose of the close is to introduce the product and to help them make the purchasing decision now that you've amplified their desire, you've reshifted their brain, and you've shown them what they need to do. Now you're going to position the product or service as the vehicle that will help them actually act on and implement that solution, right? So you're going to introduce the product, you're going to show how it taps into the mechanism, you get the dream state, you're going to tease contents, right? This is very important, right? Like, you're not going to just reveal explicitly what's on the inside. You want to create massive FOMO and curiosity about what the actual contents are. Like if it's modules or their attributes to the thing, you're going to want to use fascination bullets here and bullet points, right? Like this is where the bullet point comes from, to tease that, tease what's on the inside. Like if you go look at the table of contents of any of Dan Kennedy's books, they're just giant fascination bullets. They tell you what's inside, but they also just make you massively curious to actually read what's inside, actually discover what's there. So they've got massive desire, right? They know about their pain, they know about the dream state. They just reshifted their beliefs. They know what they need to do. So they're pretty on board with purchasing. If you douse that with just insane, if you douse that fire of desire with insane curiosity here at this point, it makes it really easy for them to want to buy, right? It'll drive them over the edge. Then you'll what's called value stack. So you'll show what they have on the inside in terms of how valuable it is, and you'll introduce price. So that's going to allow you to anchor that price. So you're going to say you're going to get all these things for X amount of dollars, right? Then you're going to stack additional value with bonuses. Usually we say, and that's not all, you also get X, Y, Z. You've seen this in like late night infomercials. The reason they do that is because it works. You can do it tactfully. But what happens is, and I'll cover this more in detail in the video, but in the other sprints, but once you set the price for the main contents and then turn around and stack bonuses on top, they see that as pure profit, a value profit in their brain. They're like, okay, I'm paying this much I'm paying, let's say, $397 for this much value. But then he's stacking on an extra $1,000 of value after that. It's all pure, like the rest of that is just pure profit they're getting for free in their mind. It's just how human brains work. It helps them make decisions. So you definitely do that. Then you'll also, in the close, you'll probably introduce a guarantee or a risk reversal or the lack thereof, right? You're going to do, again, at this stage, we're just trying to pull some of the levers to make this decision as easy as possible. One of the ways to do that is to reverse risk with a guarantee. This is where you would do your guarantees. Also, this is where you want to hit scarcity or urgency, right? If it's real and if it's available, you're going to say there's only a limited number of slots / products, slots / actual inventory, or this is going to end. I'm going to not give away the bonuses. I'm not going to sell this product after X date, right? You want to add some urgency. And then there's a bunch of different ways, different closes. I'm a big fan of the 3-way close. You probably do that a lot. So you'll present them with the 3 paths to how you can either go back into the world and say blue pill. You can try and figure it out by yourself and take 10 or 20 years, or you can just buy this product and get the dream results as quickly and easily as possible while avoiding all the problems, right? And then you're going to jump to testimonials. Oh, also, yeah, down here is like above, like once you actually tease the product, that's typically when you drop the testimonials and then you introduce the price. And then at the end, it's really common to just dump insane amounts of testimonials at the bottom so that the social proof gives them a little more certainty that this is going to work for them. Anyways, like I said, these are rough elements. There's a lot of different ways that people do this. There's no one right way, but you need to accomplish these sort of psychographic or psychological outcomes that I've defined here for each of these sections. How you do it and where you put the Lego pieces on the inside isn't as important. So this is the rough outline. This is roughly what you're going to see in the sales pages you look for. This is roughly what you're going to include in the sales pages, BSL. Again, any type of long form copy that you do for your clients. And again, this is rough. This will be updated. This will be refined as time goes on. I'll probably redo this video too. Anyways, go over this list, compare it to some of the sales pages that you've got in your swipe file that you looked over, see what they do, see what they don't do, see if there's any additional things. Use this as kind of a general guide to what has to happen in long form copy.